लाइव स्कोर्स, स्टैटिस्टिक्स, एक्सपर्ट व्यूज, एक्सक्लूसिव वीडियोस, सब कुछ मिलेगा स्पोर्ट्स तक पर। अभी डाउनलोड कीजिए स्पोर्ट्स तक ऐप।
How was the meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and what were the big points that were discussed between both of you, sir?
It's a great meeting. We're so proud of our partnership with India. We've been in India for 26 years. We have over 12,000 employees in advanced R&D. We do a lot of our chips. India with a lot of the software, and we talk about many things that are very relevant, I think, to what we think about the future of technology. We talk about the 5G and acceleration of 5G. We're talking about incredible opportunity to advance the industry not only domestically in India, but India as an export of technology as we think about the digital transformation enabled by 5G combined with the design in India. We talk about semiconductors, which is kind of an important, I think, topic of conversation. And we talk about the opportunity to continue to build an incredible mobile ecosystem that it is developing in India. Very pleased with the conversations, and we're very, very happy with everything we're doing together with India.
In India, various reforms have been taken recently. That includes the PLI scheme and various other structural reforms in India. Do you think this will give a major push to the semiconductor sector, the 5G, the AI primarily, and of course, will this give you a point to invest or build up the capacities as far as supply chain diversification is concerned?
We continue to invest in India in R&D. You know, we are a company that are 100% fabless, so we don't manufacture our own semiconductors. However, we see a lot of activity right now because of the necessity to geo-diversify and build a very resilient supply chain for semiconductors. We believe India could be an important destination, and if that infrastructure is available in India, we'll be very happy to partner with India.
You have invested massively in India, as you mentioned this point. And how has your experience been in India as far as investment is concerned?
It's been a great place for invest, and not only to invest directly, but also to support other companies. For example, we have built a Qualcomm Design in India program that would today we help 77 startup companies in India design based on our technology. We have been investing with our venture, fund in new India startups, and we think we have been very successful to date with all the investments we made in India.
How do you look at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership as far as boosting business and investment in India?
I think the approach to drive economic growth and making India a destination for investment has been very successful, and we welcome that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
So it was an outstanding meeting to meet with the Prime Minister individually this morning here in DC, and we spoke about technology and all the confidence in the policy reforms that's coming in India, and the great potential that India has from an investment perspective.
Also, we would like to know that recently various measures have been announced in India. A drone policy have been given an approval. Do you think this will give a major push in this sector as far as investment is concerned?
Absolutely. I think these are very laudable policy prescriptions and reforms that the Honorable Prime Minister and his government has taken, and I think that will certainly catalyze a lot of interest and investments in India.
As far as Make in India initiative is concerned, what are your plans as far as boosting or increasing capacities in India as far as various other sectors, specifically the drone initiative?
So there are a lot of potential areas of collaboration that we are in discussions with. I think writ large U.S. companies and many of my colleagues at U.S. companies see India as a very promising destination from a two-way standpoint, not only technologies and investments but coming back to the U.S. So I think it's a win-win. The policies and reforms that have been put in place by both countries, I think, benefit both countries, and that is why this is a sustainable model.
During this visit of Prime Minister Modi, we are listening to this word called critical technologies. A lot of focus is there on critical technologies. What are your future plans as far as this area is concerned? If you can elaborate on that aspect as well.
Yeah, I mean, the critical technologies is, of course, technologies where one wants to leapfrog into the next generation, and not only the platform systems, but as well as the design and development of, various aspects of the ecosystem. So that could include the maintenance and so forth. And so one has to look at the overall ecosystem and make sure that the trajectory is on a path that leads to sustained cooperation.
Various reforms have been undertaken recently in India that includes PLI, various structural reforms down there in India. Do you think this will give a major push to the investors as far as confidence is concerned to invest there in India?
Absolutely. I think these PLI schemes and I just got to know a lot more on the kind of reforms that have taken place, and certainly this will give an impetus for U.S. companies to invest more.
How do you look at Prime Minister Modi's leadership as far as giving a major push to the business between both the countries?
I think it is thanks to his leadership that there has been so many policy reforms in the last several years that have made investors and those that want to collaborate with India have a greater confidence, and the ease of doing business has certainly increased.
Well, it's always such a pleasure to meet the Prime Minister and hear about his vision for how he wants to expand India. Among the key topics that we talked about was, continued investment in innovation, because he certainly believes that technology is the way to help move things forward. Specifically, we talked about artificial intelligence and what might happen with artificial intelligence. We talked about creativity, the importance of creativity and how media, the ever-changing nature of media. We talked about online and the importance of startups. And in addition to that, we just talked about how, companies like Adobe can do more in India.
Also, we have seen that India has recently, given approval for this national education policy. Do you think this education policy will complement Adobe's investment plan in India as well?
Well, education is the basis of everything. I mean, we are in the intellectual property business in Adobe, and so for us, our biggest asset is our people. So anything that happens with respect to encouraging education, having digital literacy, I think only helps Adobe. And we always go where the talent is all across the world. And so we're very supportive of more emphasis and interest in education.
You've been massively invested in India. How is your experience so far as investment in India?
It's been outstanding. It's actually a secret weapon. We started in India well before it was fashionable to have an Indian facility. But we also said right from the beginning that we want the best, and we want to be able to file more patents and actually do fundamental innovation. So, we have multiple centers in India. We have it in Noida, in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, in addition to our sales offices all around the country. And it has been a home run.
India is now home to a lot of unicorns, startups right now. Very conducive environment has been built as far as startup is concerned. How do you look at this ecosystem of startups in India under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi?
It's awesome. I think people in India have always been the biggest asset, and access to capital is now available. And I think what's really inspiring is that these Indian startups are actually having as their growth the entire world. So their aspirations are not restricted to India. They're actually thinking about how they conquer the world. And as an Indian American, I mean, what could be more inspiring or a matter of pride than seeing what the Prime Minister is doing to really encourage startups, to really encourage investment in India. So, a huge supporter and fan of what the Prime Minister is doing.
My last question, in this post-COVID pandemic time, would you be increasing your capacities, investment as far as AI is concerned, 5G technology is concerned? What is primarily your outlook as far as investment in India is concerned?
Well, India is a big area of investment for us. Adobe has 3 growth initiatives, everything around creativity, document productivity, and powering digital businesses. And artificial intelligence is going to change how all those 3 solutions are delivered. So we intend to continue to invest heavily in India.
It was an outstanding meeting. I couldn't have asked for anything more. First, it was an honor to have a chance to speak with him. Clearly, with his leadership and what he's done to create a really strong balance between industrial policy as well as trade policy makes it an ideal opportunity for companies like First Solar to establish manufacturing in India. And his commitment to ensuring domestic capabilities and ensuring his long-term climate goals and objectives with focus on energy independence and security. I think the alignment of what he's trying to accomplish couldn't be better for companies that are looking to manufacture in India. And I think the enablement of an environment that is pro-business is just more opportunity for us to be successful to help India achieve its climate goals.
Okay, and we have seen that how India is taking a leadership role on a global stage as far as renewable sources of energy is concerned. How do you look at the policies of India as far as climate change, renewable sources of energy is concerned?
I think if every country could embrace and emulate what India has done, our ability to hit the long-term climate goal objectives that are established in the Paris Accord won't be a problem. I think India's leadership as it relates to being very aggressive in its commitment towards renewable energy, 450 gigawatts by the end of this decade, and enabling policies in support of that, and enabling domestic capability to ensure the most competitively advantaged and lowest cost way to deliver renewable energy into the market should be replicated across all major markets around the globe.
And we've also seen that various measures have been announced in India to boost the renewable sources of energy, the solar equipments primarily. Do you think this will help or attract investment specifically from your side as far as manufacturing capacities are concerned in India?
Absolutely. So I think, like, for example, the production-linked incentive that has been put in place is ideal. And it's you've seen even just with the recent announcements with the number of companies that have applied for that, the response has been overwhelming. And so I think that type of program is ideal to help U.S. or manufacturers to come to India in particular. We're hopeful that we'll be successful in receiving an award or a grant through the PLI. But as I told the Prime Minister, is that our commitment to India and wanting to be part of the journey and the vision that he set out, while the PLI is important, it's not one that we would forego. We want to be part of this opportunity and be part of this journey.
Also, India has started this initiative called the International Solar Alliance, whereby various big countries are coming and becoming the part of this solar alliance. Do you think this International Solar Alliance will complement your investment plans in not only in India but various other countries as well?
Absolutely so, yes, and it will help us think through opportunities. One of the things we want to do in India is not only to be there to support the domestic market, but we want to be a technology leader in leveraging capabilities that India can provide, and then also compete on a global platform and to participate and export into international markets. That type of alliance and opportunity further enhances that potential.
Well, I had a very good meeting with the Prime Minister. I told him that Blackstone had already invested $60 billion in assets in India, and over the next 5 years, we're planning another $40 billion of assets. We're one of the 10 largest companies in India. So he expressed his appreciation and talked about the new programs that were going on, including selling assets for the country, which I told him I thought was a very good idea because he could take the money from those sales of assets and reinvest it in the country to create jobs for the people of India.
The National Asset Monetization Plan. How do you look at this plan in creating jobs, in garnering revenues? Do you think this will bolster investment back there in India as well?
Absolutely. It's an excellent idea. There are some other countries that have done things like that, like Australia, that have used that to build more infrastructure to make their country better. So I think it's an excellent idea.
Okay, and India is also looking for a massive investment in infrastructure sector as well. What are the future plans as far as investment in infrastructure in India?
Well, I think it has to have a rule of law, and you have to have things happen pretty quickly because infrastructure programs take a long time. Some countries, like the United States, it takes 12 years to approve projects. Some countries, like Canada and Germany, it takes 2 years. So I would say that being on the shorter end of that is the best.
How is your experience so far? Because you have heavily invested in India. So how has your experience been as far as your investments in India are concerned?
India has been Blackstone's best market for investment in the world. I know that sounds sort of remarkable, but it is. We have a terrific team there in both our corporate investments and our real estate investments. The country is the fastest growing country now in the world. And so we're very optimistic. We've done great, and we're proud of what we've done in India.
Various reforms have been undertaken in India under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. How do you look at this leadership, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as far as reforms in India are concerned, structural reforms primarily? How do you look at it?
Well, I'd say that this is a very friendly government for outsiders like ourselves to be dealing with. They're very smart. They're very reform-oriented. They're objective. What can be done? How quickly can it be done? How sensible is it? Is it a benefit to India and benefit to outsiders? So I would give them an extremely high grade as being good partners for people who'd like to bring capital into the country to create jobs.